Попробуй вытаскивай.
Зовут как тебя? Зовут как тебя? Имя, фамилия, имя, отчество. Все, давай, одевай наручники.
The pro-Kremlin newspaper Moskovsky Komsomolets claims to have identified Russian Security Council Secretary Sergei Shoigu as the target of a foiled assassination plot that law enforcement authorities first released details about. Late last week, Russia's FSB security service said in a statement on Friday that a high-ranking official was targeted while visiting the grave of a family member at Troyekurovskoye Cemetery in Moscow. It did not reveal the official's identity. At the time, the FSB claimed its agents had discovered a hidden camera disguised as a flower vase near the grave, stating that it was used to monitor the movements of the high-ranking official Moskovsky Komsomolets, without specifying its sources, reported late Monday that the alleged target of the foiled assassination plot was Shoigu, who used to serve as Russia's defense minister before being replaced by Kremlin economist Andrei Belousov. In May 2024, senior State Duma lawmaker Andrei Kolesnik claimed the alleged plot against the Security Council chief was part of a wider campaign to destabilize Russia. Sergei Shoigu is an influential figure. The goal here is more about pressuring our country, our people, to try to sow panic. He told reporters on Tuesday Russian law enforcement officials have not yet commented on the Moskovsky Komsomolets report, and so far no one mentioned Ukraine. The moment of the Russian attack on TV tower in Dnipro. The next stages of technology war? A summary of a post by Ukrainian expert Maria Berlinska. I decided to share Ms. Berlinska's thoughts with you. Drone warfare is constantly evolving and changing warfare and the battlefield forever. Stage 1. Drones are managed by people directly on the battlefield, mostly used to correct artillery fire and for reconnaissance. First attempts of combat operations are taking place. Drones are managed by radio signal, optic fiber, some attempts at guidance systems. Stage 2. Drones are managed by people. Distance to the battlefield is increasing, but still within tens of kilometers. Drones are managed by radio signal, optic fiber, LTE, Starlink, mesh networks, etc. First successful and massive attempts at guidance systems. First attempts of managing drones at the distance of hundreds of kilometers. Stage 3. Drones still managed directly by people, in real time, but hundreds of kilometers away from the drones, which are delivered to starting positions by other people. A mix of network systems with requisite reserve channels. Guidance systems gradually become the norm. First successful cases of autonomy at different stages. Stage 4. Drones managed by people at the start, from a safe distance. Airborne drones are largely delivered to starting positions by ground, water, and other airborne drones. Groups of drones are managed by people at starting positions, but drones perform the final part of their missions fully on their own. Stage 5. Groups of drones of various types, classes, and functionality work fully autonomously. Air, ground, and water platforms interact within joint systems of managing the battlefield. Any spot on the map can become a drone battlefield, including deep in the rear, far beyond the traditional understanding of the front lines. Drones destroy each other on their own, and this becomes one of the most effective ways to fight against a robotized invasion in the ground, water, and air domains of war. Clear boundaries of the battlefield are lost completely. Autonomous robotized systems become the basis of the attack and defense for each of the sides. All these stages, including the fifth one, will be mixed between each other and will be used simultaneously at some point in time. Their characteristics will be mixed from time to time as well. The side that will win will be the one that's able to quicker increase the system of mass production and using autonomous robotized platforms. The other side will be forced to surrender because it won't be possible to fight against an army of autonomous robots without having one's own army like that. In case technologies develop at the same speed, a certain technological balance of power may appear that will lead to a standpoint and might create a possible truce. In summary, All efforts need to be directed into developing an army of autonomous robots that will be able to destroy anything moving towards us from Russia in the sky, on the water, and on the ground, be it legions of bio-robots, robotic dogs, autonomous air, or water groups of drones. Overnight, the Russians attacked railway facilities in the Dnipropetrovsk and Kharkiv regions. In Dnipro, a suburban depot was destroyed and the station was damaged. In the Kharkiv region, several stations were shelled. In Berestov, a railway worker was injured and rail cars were damaged. Also, due to a massive Shahed drone attack, a branch of the public broadcasting company Suspilny Dnipro and the Contrabass film studio burned down. Trump threatened to impose extremely harsh sanctions on countries that continue to cooperate with Russia.
Well, I hear they're doing that, and that's okay with me. They're passing legislation, or the Republicans are putting in legislation that very tough. It's sanctioning, etc., on any country doing business with Russia. They may add Iran to that, as you know. I suggested it.
The Russian military, with 15 pieces of military equipment, arrived in the Syrian province of Quneitra on the border with Israel, near the buffer zone. This was reported by the Israeli media outlet 9TV, citing Syria T5. According to the publication, the Russian military delegation arrived in the Quneitra province in the Syrian part of the Golan Heights. It includes more than 15 pieces of military equipment. The final point of their route is the village of Saida el Hanut in the south of the Syrian Golan Heights near the buffer zone. According to the newspaper, this is likely to be part of a security agreement in southern Syria that is currently being discussed. Syria is interested in the Russian military police resuming patrolling the southern provinces of Syria, as it did before the fall of the Bashar al-Assad regime on December 8, 2024. Such a measure, according to the Syrian government, could limit the military activity of Israel, which has occupied part of southern Syria since December 2024 and continues operations in this area. In the summer of 2025, Russia resumed patrolling in Syria for the first time since the overthrow of the Assad regime in late 2024. This happened near the northeastern city of Al-Qamishli, a few days after the Syrian foreign minister's visit to Moscow on July 31st to August 1st. The military convoy, accompanied by 2 helicopters, proceeded east of the town, which is located on the border with Turkey. This happened in parallel with the resumption of the Syrian Express. After the change of power in Damascus, the Russian military retained the Navy's logistics center in the province of Tartus, as well as the Khmeimim Air Base in the province of Latakia. Russian aviation also continues to operate the military airfield in Al-Qamishli. Back in March 2025, Israel tried to convince the United States that Syria should remain a weak and decentralized state. According to the sources, Israeli officials tried to convince the Americans that Russia should keep its Mediterranean naval base in the Syrian province of Tartus and its Khmeimim air base in the province of Latakia. Israel's biggest fear is that Turkey will come in and protect this new Syrian Islamist order, which will then become a base for Hamas and other militants, said Aaron Lund, a research fellow at the American think tank Century Foundation. When Israeli officials presented Russia's continued presence in a positive light at the meeting with the Americans, some participants were surprised, arguing that NATO member Turkey would be a better guarantor of Israel's security, 2 American sources said. Israeli officials were adamant that this was not the case, the sources said.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.